Yes.
Testing 1, 2, test, test. Why isn't this showing? Test, test, test. Maybe it's the other one. Let me.
Okay. All right, let me promote you.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Test. Testing 1, 2, 3.
We have two projects that are conceptual, so I'm not technically presenting, but they are presenting their projects. And then we have like a study session, we have like a discussion that has to do with pools. Yeah, I don't think it should, maybe hopefully just an hour. I'm hoping each project at least takes like 20, 30 minutes at most, but, and maybe our talk with them, maybe another 15 minutes hopefully, but I'm gonna join on my phone and see if I can, if there's like no echo. But we'll see. We had three projects originally, but yeah, the last one of the projects didn't want to go anymore last minute, last Thursday. So yeah. All right, let me see if this.
Hi, I'm Mary Kidash, and welcome to Tell Me About Your Dog. How about, is that on? That speaker? Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 3. Can, oh, you can hear it out of your phone. Okay, good, great. Okay, good. All right. Go home now.
Yeah.
we move them away from the, usually the podium's over here. I don't know, it doesn't matter to me, I'm just curious.
Yeah,
Do you think there'll be more people coming?
I don't know if we're gonna come, but I'll just do it this way. I mean, it's only two projects.
Well, they can always.
And they're neighbors.
If they wanna, yeah, if they want to come to the chair.
Yeah, and they're neighbors too, so it's fun.
They're neighbors, are they agreeing with each other?
We'll see. It's just conceptual, so they technically didn't formally apply.
Oh, they have.
Just more of a study session.
Oh, just like what you might do.
Well, yeah, what they're thinking of doing and how ADR feels about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not, you go to council next month, or it's more of it's a study session. That's why it was, I don't have to present. I was gonna scoop this more this way.
What they had in here, I was just here for town council, and it was all set up.
Well, sometimes we have these kids that come. It's like we have like a school program coming. These little kids come. You have Halloween?
Yeah, we have a town out west side that the whole place is bomb, the whole street kind of shuts down.
Just like here, I guess. I heard
Do they do it here too?
they always do it over here on Shaky Lane here.
Oh, do they cut it off? I mean, they block it.
They block it, yeah, this whole street, and apparently,
So fun.
apparently our town manager saying that there was like a million kids. That's what she said.
Well, so we get some people from other places.
Yeah, one of the owners here that's coming tonight. She's the architect, but she lives here. She said she spent like $600 on paint, and it was gone within like an hour.
Oh my God.
And then one of the rich guys that was here, he had a maze. Oh, you know, not sure. Yeah, that's fine. Like a corn maze up with it,
Oh, yeah.
and his property, it's free and everything.
Oh, fun.
So.
So fun.
Test one. Test 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
You have that light on?
not sure you can access it.
I got your text message.
Is Roberta here?
Yeah, she's here.
I'll give her a minute.
Yeah, if you want to reach out to her. I don't pay attention to my phone.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, how are you? Good, how are you? Good. Here for the town council meeting. ADR meeting. There we go.
Yeah, how are you?
Okay, perfect.
Are you there 12 or 2?
Two. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice to meet you.
I'm Jay. Yeah, no, it's good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Good. I think you maybe spoke with my wife. Yeah.
Oh, yesterday. Yes.
Yeah. Wonderful. Oh, goodness. I've never been in here before.
Never.
Yeah.
Yeah, these kind of chairs.
Okay. They look like new chairs.
Yeah. So you're welcome to sit anywhere you want.
Okay. Yeah, what's the format? Do we back here and then when it's our turn,
So yeah, normally it's.
do we just stay back here or do we?
Yeah, so you guys just sit there. Whenever the ADR member chair usually we'll call you out again to present the project.
Okay.
So we'll come up here,
Okay.
present it, we'll have plans available for her here. Yeah.
Perfect. Hello, I'm Jake.
Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Wendy. Yeah, so nice to meet you. Yeah, we're at two there.
Yeah, I saw. I like Jared a lot.
Yeah, Jared's
He's
great.
such a great man. I worked for him for a long time.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding. Nice.
Yeah.
Small world.
Well, he's just such, I don't know, he was so good to his employees.
Yeah.
Such a nice person.
Right. Such a nice. He's so down to earth.
He's been living here for so long time.
Yep.
That was great.
Yeah. I had a great experience with him and.
That's good. I hope he has. Where is she there? I think she went on her own.
I'm actually not sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
Karen, do you remember who she had?
From
This is going back
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
that building with the thing awnings on it.
yeah, okay, yeah.
So I just have to walk away, but sometimes.
Yeah, we've had a couple of things. That's the repair that they'll lost.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, good to see you. Hey, we'll be here shortly. Yeah, cheers. Perfect.
Oh, he'll be here too. Oh, he'll be here too? Are you presenting or is Jared presenting? This works.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time in this building, I'm sure.
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
It's so different from the last one I've been at. We would sit in the alley tables.
Oh, yeah, that was a long time.
Like, I don't know what jobs.
I don't know when that stopped.
It's gotten.
Yeah.
No dormant for months at a time. Yeah.
Been a while. Yeah. I wonder what that says about the Ross housing market, that so few projects are coming through this last 3 months. I mean,
I have like, I have a bridge right now that applied me in the last 2 months.
which is a lot or a little.
I guess a lot, but not much.
Right.
A lot for Ross.
Yeah, because it's amazing. We've never had like a 3-month period like this with so few.
Yeah. Yeah, but we have some on the works right now. Oh, yeah.
Hi there, how are you?
Good. How are you today?
Good, nice to see you.
Got your Halloween scarf on. Nice.
Hi, Mark. Sorry about this last minute change.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, I looked at the other one, or the one that we had.
We got a call from Laura and then I was presenting. I corrected.
Okay.
Mark, do you get the emails I send to the town email?
Actually, it occurred to me that I haven't been checking that. I just
Oh, okay,
waited.
you have it
so,
on there.
So actually, let me.
Alex
Well,
and I were
the
just
problem is because
confirming
I don't
people
do
were
the all. I
attending.
should do the all
Oh,
inboxes,
I
but
see,
instead I don't.
see. Okay, I see. You have to say all or something.
Yeah. Although here, let's see. Oh yeah, here. No.
Does it work?
Well, I have things from like Patrick for the site visit and Wendy for just now I'm seeing, and the other site visit, but not from you.
Oh, no. Okay.
Did you send something to my Gmail or to my town one?
To your town one.
That's funny. For some reason, it's not in there, even though all the other ones are.
Just asking if
Yeah,
you
but
were
you
gonna
can
be able
always,
to
but
attend.
always feel free to call me
yeah.
or use my Gmail or text me. Yeah.
Okay,
If
okay.
I, because I'm usually pretty responsive, so if I
Yeah.
don't respond, it means I probably haven't seen something.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, no worries.
How you doing, Joey? Good. Hey, Mark.
Hi. gonna see.
I did watch the, you suggested 2 months ago. Oh, of the discussion where we had, yeah, that's right. I'd forgotten all about that. It's been so long. I watched that last night. I thought it was good. It's good to watch. So I appreciate it. It's on the agenda. Okay. Yeah, good. No. I should have rewatched it because now I forget what my good points were. Maybe I'll forget them. Okay, good, good. Yeah, I guess theoretically, she was saying, if we have this, then we'll really toe the line, as opposed to now where we have it and we don't, but then if it's
I'm just trying to get on the Wi-Fi.
but then if it's 6 feet, for instance, does someone then ask for 5 and we say, well, it's, okay. It's exactly the same structure. Yeah. And that's what I thought. I thought it was well, like, you know, look at it and you're like, well, this isn't really fundamentally changing. If someone wants it,
Yeah. No, I'm not looking right at.
20 feet.
Roberta. Roberta.
Okay, I still want 6.
Yeah. No, I'm not looking right at. Is there a new Wi-Fi password?
I mean, if it really was like a God-given 10 and we're not going to change, nothing will change that. Yeah, well, then it would make things easier, I agree. That's right, it would be different. Yeah.
Let me check my email.
Instead of like the ADR members trying to figure out, well, you know, I think you could ask for variance because in this case, you have a sycamore tree on your lot, so like, it's far away, so 15 feet seems more appropriate than the 20. Yeah.
It just runs for a while, but if you have to censor it back to turn it off right away, or it's timed, so it will turn off. But it stays on for so wasteful. It's a very weird faucet. It's supposed to be some type of, it doesn't. Unless you like.
Well, it must stop eventually if it turned on for you.
It will stop.
They want you to be thorough. Maybe you're not being thorough enough. What are the hospital rules? Like you have to be washing for 60 seconds pre-surgery or something? I think you're supposed to sing the alphabet song or something. Maybe that's brushing your teeth. Okay. Okay, you guys ready? Roberta, do you know if Steven's coming this evening?
We checked, but there was no response,
so. Okay, well, we'll go. Good evening. I'd like to call to order the ADR for Ross for November 18th, 2025. Our first order of business always is open time for public comments. If anybody here or on Zoom has up to 3 minutes to speak about anything they'd like to that is not on tonight's agenda? Okay. The next order of business is approval. Oh, we can introduce ourselves. I'm Mark Kruchnet, ADR member.
Hi, Laura Dewar, ADR member.
Mark Fritz?
Joey Buckingham.
The next order of business is approval of the minutes, August 19th, 2025. Do they seem good to people?
Yes, I move to approve.
I second it, so those are approved. We have no planning projects tonight, but we have 2 conceptual advisory design review items. And the way these work, similar to the normal items, is the owner and his design team can present after the town introduces it. At that point, we will ask questions and have a little back and forth because it's conceptual. And at the end of that, we can open it up to the public if anyone else wants to comment on it. Alex, would you like to present the project?
Yeah, so we have the owner and the applicant here for 2 Madeira, and they're here to request for conceptual review to convert an office to a JADU and construct an addition on the 2nd level of the residence. The project also includes to extend the existing deck and add a trellis. Jared? You can let me share my screen. Yeah.
And then, Jared, can you just turn the mic on if it's not on?
I think it's on. Okay,
Yep,
great.
perfect.
It's a very simple remodel of the house, and I wanted to point out the things that we're proposing. And there's story poles up. I'm hoping that you guys had a chance to go out and take a look. So we're doing a number of things. We're raising the deck here on the north side. We're calling this the north, so that the deck will wrap around rather than stepping down to a lower deck. We're filling in, right now this deck has an angle, sort of indentation here, and we're filling that in so it's one straight line instead of a funny angle. And that part where we're filling is actually not in the front yard setback. We were proposing it to add a trellis. It's blazing hot in the summer, so this provides some shade, not only for the deck, but for the room beyond it. We're replacing right now there's sort of ugly posts and lattice. We want to replace that with walls of windows and shingles, so it looks more substantial. We want to convert the main floor office right here on the east side to a JADU, and they're taking that square footage and adding some space upstairs, so that right now the primary bedroom is hidden from the view by a crappy bathroom. This will allow us to put in a new bathroom and better primary bedroom. We're proposing to add 191 square feet upstairs, so that's enough room for a better bathroom. And there's one window that looks east in the toilet room, one small window looking east. So that's kind of what we're proposing, and hopefully we can answer any questions you might have.
Are there any variances requested with this?
Yes.
What is that?
The deck. Except, yeah, because the deck right now is not conforming due to the setback, but they're pushing it more closer to the property line. I can show you here.
I think we're enclosing the portion. Where's it there? See, right now the deck jogs in here.
Shaded portion.
Right in here, yeah. And I think that part is outside of the setback. Oh, excuse me. There's. Oh, I see. You're right. It's the shaded part.
So the shaded part actually.
Right. Part of that addition to the deck is in the front yard setback.
Okay.
Sorry.
So that's the only reason for variance?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you describe below the deck, you're replacing the trellis and posts with a wall on the bottom right of that elevation, is that right?
Yes.
So it essentially becomes an enclosed space?
Yes. Well, it's not quite enclosed. It's still open on the north end.
Can you point that end out on those? Is it right?
I think it's the next. You have to go to the proposed.
Yeah, go to the proposed. That's the
This
existing.
is existing.
So where is it still open?
Right here.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I stood there earlier today, and it's basically now, you got the trellis.
Right.
Instead of the wall, and let's call it an open storage area because there's no door into
Right,
it.
yeah.
And so they're proposing to take the unattractive trellis, put in the attractive wall with the windows, but still leave it with no door. So you'd walk in and it's you considered a mostly enclosed area. If you added, a 5-foot by 7-foot or 6-foot wall, then it would be 100% enclosed. But what they're proposing is unenclosed, but, and it's, pretty low ceiling. It's not going to be a room, but basically just to make it prettier and take away it's a trellis solution.
Yeah. I follow. Okay, thank you. Just to clarify, there's no FAR request because you're doing a JADU to transfer you're transferring the square footage upstairs, essentially is what you're doing. I didn't see on the plan, is there a proposed kitchen in that JADU?
It's sharing the kitchen with the house, which you can do with a JADU.
Really?
Yeah.
No, right?
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry.
You can share a bathroom, but I don't think
I
you
don't
can share
think you
a
can
kitchen.
share a kitchen.
You can share a bathroom.
I think you can share a kitchen, so we've been told by ACD.
If you could share a bathroom and kitchen, then you're just building a room, right? I mean, I'll leave that up to you guys, but I think you need both, but
I don't think
your
a
code.
JADU needs a kitchen. It can share a kitchen with the rest of the house.
We'll confirm that.
Yeah, something just for Alex to confirm. So this is just, conceptual.
Right.
So one thing that's always hard for us to approve of is exacerbating a non-conformity. And when I was talking to the owner, he was under the impression, and this shows that it's different, that the part of the deck where you were expanding was not into the setback.
No, there's parts of it that's.
Yeah, because if it wasn't in the setback, then it would be a very easy thing to say, yeah, that sounds good, why not? Just make the deck larger and make it rectangular, which, fits better architecturally. Because if you're asking for a variance for that, then you have to prove the hardship thing, which is hard for an outdoor deck to prove that. Because that's come up before, so that might be something that you're going to have difficulty with.
One thing, are you talking about the deck that extends out towards like the view or the
Yeah,
side?
so
you're talking about right
there. It's currently in the same place, but it juts in and it's
Right.
not equal. And they're just bringing in this drawing, upper half of it out to make it
Slightly,
flush.
yeah.
Which I think architecturally it makes sense. No one else can see it. It's far away from everybody. But it's just a weird question of, it's a variance because it's in the setback.
Right,
That
right.
part.
Well, I just wanted to point out the deck area that's kind of like at the top of that drawing is existing, and they're just basically raising it a few feet. So I
Yeah.
feel like that
Seems
factors
easy.
in. Yeah.
To me, that part seems, and it's high from the neighbor down there, but I don't think if it's 30 feet above him or 35 feet above him makes any difference whatsoever. So, and I agree with you, raising that up seems like a no-brainer, and it's not exacerbating anything. So that seems fine. It's just that one little triangular thing, and maybe it'd be nice to hear other people figure out if there's a good reason we could find for suggesting that that would be a variance that should be granted for a deck.
Well, I think that's the spirit of the concept of a variance, is listening to ideas like this and why it would make sense to bend the rules. And I think the reason would be architectural improvement, a huge improvement in terms of the symmetry of the house and the way the house looks from the road. It's such a huge improvement for such a little spend in terms of, benevolence on the variance issues. The one thing that bugs me a little bit about this design is the overhang of the deck beyond that wall. I wish you could bring that wall out to the edge of the deck, or
I
bring
see.
the edge of the deck back to the wall so that they're flush.
There's flush.
Yeah, and
Flush to the rail.
that, and then I have no issues with the design. I think the design's great, and it's a huge improvement from the road. It will really make the house look quite nice. I kind of wish you could use the space underneath the deck, you know, and not just have that be a false wall. Is that they can't have that much FAR as storage?
Are you maxed out at the FAR currently?
I walked
Yeah.
under there. It's a really low ceiling height.
611.
Yeah, but it's
could be-
less than. I feel like, have we seen that before, where it's not habitable space?
Yes.
But it seems stupid to just build a false wall.
Well, that's
when
why
you
we
could-
left the end open, because it's not habitable.
Right.
And, yeah.
But
But if you enclose it and it's under a certain height, it doesn't count anyway,
Right.
so, and there were some unattractive pipes and wiring up there. So if you just did a false ceiling that brought it down to, let's say, 6'1", then,
611.
oh, 6'11", excuse me, then you could,
that's a great
then you could just
suggestion.
enclose it.
Yeah.
then you could, but something that bugs me about the cantilever deck
This is-
beyond the face of
This is
the,
beyond the wall there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How far does it stick out, Joey? Yeah, it might be, just thinking back to that slope there, it might be.
Yeah, you can see it's sloping here. So if the wall goes from here to here, it's taller.
Yeah, it makes it tall. It seemed like it was quite a steep slope there. So that might be difficult, or maybe it's something you could
We could
look
at.
into, like if you put a small retaining wall with plants and,
or what about some sort of, just spacing out on some sort of a bracket or something
A
that.
kicker.
Yeah, that, what are those called, like outriggers or?
Yeah, like an outrigger.
So it doesn't have to come to the ground.
Something so that it's not just this and this, something that
We
would.
could look into that.
A brace, a decorative element that would kind of appear to hold those up.
Yeah, we do actually have those elsewhere on the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can point at things.
Yeah, we have some of those braces elsewhere on the house, under some of the roof lines, and then trellising over the side door. So I think that would be pretty consistent with the design of the house.
Something that would just sort of appear to support
Kind of
that.
soften that
Yeah.
that angle.
Yeah, I wouldn't pull the wall out. I would
No, yeah,
add those
yeah.
details, because they are around the house.
Do you have any?
I don't have any comments architecturally. I think it's designed very well. I think Mark's question is good. I mean, in a study session, we don't require this, but should we talk about the findings that could be made? Should we go around, or do you want to talk about what findings, what hardship, the 4 findings that are in the code? Do you want to discuss that now, or present that in your next visit?
Well, we would welcome your ideas, your discussion about what those might be.
I mean, do you have handy the question in the code, literally?
So, variances shall be granted only when, because of special circumstances applicable to the property, including size, shape, topography, location of surroundings, the strict application of the zoning ordinance deprives such property of privileges enjoyed by other property in the vicinity and under identical zoning classifications. Any variance granted shall be subject to such conditions as will assure that the adjustment thereby authorized shall not constitute or grant special privileges. And then a variance shall not be granted for a parcel or property which authorizes a use or activity that is not otherwise expressly authorized. And then the findings are that there's a special circumstance or condition applicable to the land, building, or use referred to in the application, that the granting of the application is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of substantial property rights, and then that the granting of the application will not materially affect adversely the health or safety of persons residing or working in the neighborhood, or be detrimental to the public welfare or injurious to property or improvements in the neighborhood. Those are the three.
So if you look at the dashed-in setbacks, like a house couldn't even be built to not encroach in the setbacks. So I mean, I would think that is,
So that's one,
yeah.
one finding. Another finding is that your new stair is a safer means of approaching the house. The current stair is not really to code, or doesn't appear to be. So this is a safety thing. And in terms of outdoor enjoyment, the natural topography of this lot is so steep that you don't really have a backyard or outdoor space, so the deck is it. So you're just squaring off in order to make that, approach and that stairway safer.
You could also say it's an awkwardly shaped, oh, sorry. We could add that it's a very awkwardly shaped lot, and so that, on a curve, so usually front yards are, parallel to the street, and this street is meandering in a curve.
I think there's a lot of findings.
So I guess, because it's conceptual, let me just ask a question. Whether or not, like, any one particular legal definition is met by what we've just said or not, would the people here generally support the larger deck as it's proposed?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So, you're right, we're reaching, maybe, and maybe we're not. Maybe it's perfectly justifiable, but you basically have 5 people here that are like supporting the idea of that deck expansion as it is. Oh, go on.
I just, before we wrap the conversation, I just wanted to add one other thing I noticed. I know the addition does have a window facing towards the next project, but there is actually an existing window. It's essentially the wall is just moving out some, and the new window, I believe, looks to be smaller than the current window. So I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, well, and it's not within the setbacks, right? Yeah, that's not within the setbacks anyway, so.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. And actually, I like that addition, the second story, or it might even be third story addition, the top addition, next to the master bedroom. It feels like it's filling in a space that just sort of exists for no reason there.
Right, and like minimally impactful on, it doesn't block anybody's view.
Yeah. Okay, so seems you have a lot of support for all aspects of your project.
There's no variance.
Thank you. We'll see you in a month or two,
Yeah, thank you.
depending how fast Jared works. Okay, now we can move on to 12 Madera Avenue. Oh, sorry, just one second. Alex, do you want to do the quick presentation just before Wendy goes?
The owner and the applicant at 12 Madera is here for conceptual review to remodel and renovate the existing single-family home and include an attached ADU that will be rent restricted.
Thank you. Go ahead, Wendy.
Hi, I'm Whitney Posard, the designer of this project, and we've been working on this for almost 3 years now. We started out with a design of an ADU over the garage, and after some soul searching and looking at various bulks and mass and talking to the neighbors, we switched gears and we attached our ADU to the existing residence in support of their concerns of having an ADU over the garage. We feel like we've achieved all of our goals for the design in terms of trying to really honor the existing architecture of the house, not trying to add any modernization, different types of windows, but keeping everything exactly as it used to be. And as we're looking at the existing drawings here, the as-built, you can see the divided light windows, the proportion of the gabled roof, the shingles, and all those things mean a lot to my clients and why they were attracted to this property from the beginning. I know many of you have been on the property, and you can also see that there's been an incredible amount of attention and care to the garden. And the garden and the landscape of the property are really the love of my clients. And so that we were very sensitive to try to not to break up the landscape or the existing walkways or, exasperate further larger patio spaces, but try to be very sensitive to the existing land. Having said that, our first attack and our second was on the garage, because we always felt like the garage, if we could go back to the photographs, Alex, for a second. Oh, thanks. I will ask for that later. But the garage just wasn't blending. It feels newer and not historical. It doesn't take on all the characteristics of the existing residence, where you have these beautiful steep gables, again, divided light windows, white trim. And so if we could fast forward to the design of the garage now. There we go, thanks. Or just one back. There. What we did is, you can see the dashed line is the existing roof line, and we're asking to raise up the gable so that it matches the same exact slope of the promontory gable on the front of the house. This is a single-story structure still. It's in the same footprint. We're not adding any square footage. And so it's just a one-volume space. In addition to that, we added dormers as transoms to put natural light into the space. So and there's the dormers there. So the sill height to the floor height is about 10 feet. There's no privacy issues in terms of the neighbor's property, because these are strictly transoms. And then, as you can see on the primary residence, there's existing gable dormers, and we've added more gable dormers to the existing house, knitting this design together and making it historically sound and classically detailed. If we could go to the front again, all same building materials for the garage. The garage will have the same shingles and same stain as the existing now. And if I could go back to the photos, Alex, thanks. So that's our approach for the garage. For the house, we're maintaining the existing decking, and we're adding some small decking to the side, on the left-hand side of this gable, for the approach and separate entry of our ADU. The ADU's slightly under 1,000 square feet, and as you know, for a hillside lot, the maximum allowable would be 800, but we're applying for a deed restriction that can let you go up to 1,000, and we just went slightly shy on that at 995. So that ADU is tucked way back in the bays, and I hope all of you got a chance to see how that mass is not visible from the cul-de-sac down below, from the neighbors, or from what I've seen, you will not be able to see that mass at all. We maintained all the existing ridge lines. What we added on the front facade is more trim, some really pretty trim, and some more windows in kind. And then you can see over here in the drawings, you'll see that there's two gables instead of one now. Because it's a hillside lot and it's a tricky lot, we're here for a variance because it's non-conforming and it's on a hillside. And we maintain all the guidelines for height and setback and size of the ADU that we're attaching. Can we go to the floor plans for a second? Yes, thanks. So you can see in the proposed floor plans, and I think this is helpful in describing that with the planning codes document that I also provided you today on your desk, where it highlights in color what's added, what's subtracted. So we have a clean break between primary residence and ADU, tucked on the side here. And then when we come up to the second floor, that stacks on itself. What we did to make the floor plan work for a 2-bedroom ADU is we captured some of the existing resident space and made a trade down below on the first floor to gain a full-use bedroom, 2 bedrooms, shared Jack and Jill. Again, staying under 1,000 square feet. At the end, our calculations brought us down to an ask of 85 square feet. This in part is because we are requesting to have the minor exemption, basement exception, per the section that Alex has provided in the notes. And we've not exceeded any heights beyond the existing heights. I think that's about it. I'm ready for any questions.
Actually, just for Alex, what are the specific variances?
The variance is for floor area. That's pretty much it.
Just the 85 feet FAR?
85 square feet, yes.
So there's a nonconformity permit. Is that what the terminology is to request the height change at the garage? Or what's the, what kind of permit procedure is the garage change billed as?
So under design review, if you change the height of any building or structure, you need design review. So you just
So
need
it just
the
falls into design review.
Exactly.
So there's design review for the garage, and because what criteria for an ADU trigger design review? Over 800 and over, maybe that's it. It can be up to 25 feet if it's attached without design review, as long as it's under 800. So the triggers for this project for review are the 85 square feet, the
Variance.
the design review because it's over 800 square feet, and design
Yes.
review kind of for everything, but for
It's
the
an
garage
ADU
too.
exception because it's over the 800 square feet, and then they have to deed restrict it
Yep.
to go up to 1,200.
Yeah, sure.
And it's a hillside, minor exception for the basement. Nonconformity variance, design review.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see, just going in the order of how you presented, the first thing was the garage. And I was not able to go on the property. I didn't have access. There was no one home when I went there, but I was at the neighbor's house. The garage is a non-conforming structure. It's it's actually even apparently an inch over the property line. So it seems that we're what we always call exacerbating a non-conformity. If it becomes all of a sudden larger, taller with the dormers. And even though no one can see out of those windows, it's a lot of windows that obviously provide light, but also when the light's on, it shines out light. And I know the neighbors were not happy with a structure that's partially even on their property, all of a sudden having windows looking down into their yard and windows looking out at their house, even if they're higher up in the garage. Maybe no one's ever standing there. Maybe there's never an attic built in there, but it seems like a lot of maybe unnecessary. The only person who's going to see those windows, those dormers, the windows in the dormers are the people down the hill who actually don't want them to be there, and nobody else from the public or other houses, I don't think will ever see them. And the ones looking into from behind the garage, which aren't really very necessary. Most garages don't have windows in the back. Also, the only vantage point you could possibly see those from are the neighboring house that doesn't want them, that's, 10 feet below them. So I would suggest that that be done probably without the dormers and without the additional windows that are all on the property line. They're not even, 4 feet back. They're just on the property line looking into the neighbor's yard. But maybe you guys have different thoughts about those windows.
I think I agree about that structure generally, about what you're saying. What about the height?
I think the neighbors, it is exacerbating a nonconformity, which usually we don't like to see, but I think it would fit better architecturally with the house. I think Wendy's 100% correct when she talks about the angle of the roof. And the neighbors below were actually fine with the exacerbating the nonconformity aside from the windows. So like they didn't mind the higher roof, even though they look at a lot more roof than they currently do. They, want to be generally supportive of the project, but they just didn't like the window aspect. So if the neighbors aren't complaining and it makes the house look nicer and makes the garage fit better architecturally with everything, I'd be supportive of that.
Wendy, what did you say the plate height is in the new garage?
Oh, the plate is the existing plate height. So I didn't raise the plate height.
Okay,
I
got
just popped off the roof. I do want to note.
What is the
though,
plate then? Is it about 8?
It's 9.
It's 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the carriage doors are 8. So I'm sorry. It's the plate height is 8 and the carriage doors are 7.6. So it's an 8-foot plate height. I do want to mention though that I think that there's some discrepancy about the property line, and maybe my client could speak to that. But and also that there's a solid fence, if some of you noticed, going up, and this is thanks, Alex. The solid fence that shared between the two properties kisses the front left-hand corner of the existing garage. And then it's just a very loose, not even hog wire, that goes beyond that. So visually from the neighbor's side, you just see the side of the house. You see the side of the structure. It's all shingle. And I don't know if, some more fence or more planting based off of the actual property line, if we could just simply mask all the windows on the back of the garage and, use that as a screening.
Have you stood in the neighbor's yard? The
I have
floor
a really
of the
good
garage.
photo. Could I show the photo?
If you're, I was there. If you're standing on their lawn, the garage is about 8 to 10 feet above you. There's no fence between the lawn and the garage. So like you would need a 20-foot high fence to block the proposed windows.
I think the big issue is just exacerbating a nonconformity. It's on the property line. I mean,
Yeah.
And maybe it could
love
be done
that
with
garage.
a single
So
pitch
pretty.
rather than a quadrifoil,
I would love you to build that garage because it's so pretty.
You mean no dormers?
Just one gable in one direction. Yeah, instead of the dormers. Yeah, I would say, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think that's what you described.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to have a 20-foot high
Can you-
fence to
can you
block the
bring it-
proposed windows.
Bring it back to me.
Which would be
Thanks.
against code.
No, I
Yeah.
just,
Or plantings, like the bamboo that's there now, that's already partially masking, thanks, Joey, masking the proposed dormer on their side is starting to do a good job of that.
But would the planting have to be on the neighbor's property?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's no
I don't think
space for
that
planting there.
Yeah.
And there's no planting, and, yeah, anyway,
Okay, just a thought.
yeah. Is there anybody
go one by
here
one,
who
huh?
would support those windows being built there?
Well, let's be specific on which windows you're describing. There are windows
the
on the front
rear-
facade, there are the dormers, and there are windows on the side. I'm sorry, the rear facade as well. So let's just be
I would say
specific.
well, first we'll go for the rear ones.
Okay.
Is there anyone who would support the rear ones being built on the property line of that garage?
The west elevation?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the rear of the garage we're seeing on the right-hand side there.
Right. So whether it's the current property owner or a future property owner, I don't think it would feel right to add windows on a non-conforming structure that is right into the backyard of the neighbor, so, personally.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think we just have to hold to the standards that we've enforced on so many people before you guys. Anything that's exacerbating a nonconformity that's that close, as pretty as it is, I think it would have, even if we all said yes, the town council wouldn't pass it.
Yeah.
That's good.
And is there anybody who would support the side windows?
No, not the dormers. I think that,
Not the dormers, yeah.
I don't think so. I think the dormers exacerbate the mass more than it adds to the.
I would agree.
On both sides or on the neighbor's side?
I think what Mark is saying, and I'll reiterate, or I agree, I think just the mass of the dormer itself, not just the window, but the mass of the dormer. I don't know if that's what you're saying, Mark, but
Yeah,
what I would suggest is.
I would say both.
You would say both?
I just think it should be a nice gabled roof that goes up.
With additional pitch. You could.
Even though that exacerbates the nonconformity, and usually we would say no, I think in this case, because the neighbors are being supportive.
And it slopes away from the property line?
And it slopes away, and it architecturally looks nice. I think we'd all probably, or I would support that, but I certainly wouldn't support the dormers, and I certainly wouldn't support the windows on the side.
What is the pitch?
Oh, it's a 5 and 12.
The current
I mean,
one's 5 on 12.
Yeah, what's the
The
new
one's
the
like
proposed pitch?
It's like a 12 on 12, it looks like,
12 and
right?
12.
12 and 12. And what's on the house in different parts?
12 and 12. It's
12.
exactly the same.
12 and 12.
So just to be really specific, we've got windows that are, on the rear elevation, we have windows that are a band at, let's say, below the sill plate, and then we have the window that's above up into the peak, and we have that on the front facade as well. So what I'm hearing you say is no windows in the back.
Correct, like most garages.
And then the front facade, there's an additional window above the garage doors.
Great.
So that one we would support, is the theory across
Yeah.
across the group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so now we're done with the garage, we can move on.
So just to be clear, we'd all be supportive of raising the height to match the pitch on the main house, getting that extra kind of volume, which is really pretty architecturally. No windows facing anywhere except the front, which is pictured above the garage doors, and no dormers.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. And then I'll let someone else start asking questions about the house.
I can start with a naive question. I mean, I think generally I really support the ADU, and I support it being above the 800 here because I don't think it harms anybody, and it's a good use of the mechanism to allow greater square footage for an ADU. So I think that sounds generally good to me, unless I'm convinced by other folks. I don't truthfully understand the need for the variance for the 85 square feet. Do you all understand why that's a requirement, or kind of is something that really is necessary as a linchpin to make this thing work? Or I just don't understand it yet.
There's a bunch of little leftovers that if you look at the
Yeah,
plans-
but I mean, that's what we do as architects. We make those.
do we? Yeah.
I mean, you can't make it work without the 85 square foot ask.
We probably could.
I mean, I think that
It
without
works
knowing more,
better.
I would say the project is lovely, make the changes to the garage, make the thing 1,000 square feet, and get rid of that 85 somehow, like just make it disappear.
Yeah, we never suggest someone needs more FAR. It just really.
Yeah, given the fact that it's wildly over FAR to begin with, I couldn't see a finding for the additional 85, because I think you could
Yeah,
make it work.
we could.
Yeah, I mean, you can. So I would be in agreement with what Stephen's saying there.
So then I think as a conceptual design review, that's probably good to go on. Just get rid of the 85 feet somehow, do that to the garage, and then the rest seems good. Oh, sorry.
Does anyone have any architectural comments on the ADU itself? Sorry.
I do. I'm just wondering, I feel like even though nobody will see the tall, vertical walls of the ADU with no pitched roof, is there any reason you made that a flat roofed two-story
The
addition?
25 feet.
Pardon me?
It's because of the 25
feet.
Yeah. I was trying to, I would love to do something, but we're just trying to keep those as much in line with the ordinance.
Yeah, I have the same thought. I had
It's
this,
such
I
a
was trying to
pretty
figure out how
house.
you could get something that fit in the character. I mean, you're working so hard to make, let's say, for example, a garage fit with the character of the house. And then this piece does look like an addition with a flat roof that
Well, the
is being
garage,
constrained by a height limit. Like, that's what it looks like.
but the garage is prettier than the ADU.
I know.
There are some beautiful windows on the front of the ADU. though.
Exactly, but I'm just like, is there any way architecturally you could make that fit?
I'll just like to point out that you guys can apply for an exception to floor area, but also an exception to the height for an ADU.
Could we put a deck up there?
That wouldn't,
No.
I don't think that
No,
would
that-
solve the,
people don't want decks looking down
yeah,
on the
that's
neighbors.
also the truth, yeah.
The exception to height, Alex, is a variance ask, right? Is that right? Yeah, exception.
It's not a variance, it's an ADU exception, but obviously you would need to make that recommendation.
With the same
ADR would need to make
findings?
that recommendation to the council. It's different from the variance findings.
But
It's
in
like an
order to
ADU.
get the properly pitched roof, it would
It
have
would
to
do-
be a huge exception.
And I think that
It would
would,
be, yeah.
the
and it would be a
massing
big
at that,
valley.
right, the massing at that point would be a
valley.
disaster.
Well, I would just mention that you probably don't really have any perspective to see this, right?
True.
Because
right.
you could only see the story poles like peeking around the
Yeah.
corner.
I know.
Right? So I don't think from the street below, I mean, maybe I'm
Like-
incorrect. And
You're not wrong.
In elevation, it doesn't look right to me, but you'll never see that, perceive
No,
that.
I hear you. Yeah, and we will put a big, beautiful cornice facade on the top to cap it off.
Yeah, maybe even in your renderings, it could be a little heftier.
You know, like it.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, inches
something
of
that's-
Like a frieze and a crown.
Yeah.
And
Alex, Roberta, are parapets or architectural features exempt from the height limit, or is the height limit strict to the topmost feature of the structure, period?
It's to the top, yeah.
Yeah, that's sucky.
You know what, I wondered almost if you treated, not trying to design it, but the second floor of that ADU could be treated like, I'm trying to think of the right term, could be treated differently than the lower base of it almost, so you,
With paneling or.
with paneling or some treatment that took that top portion and made it.
All white trim or whatever.
Exactly.
Instead of shingles.
Yeah.
Like the solariums or the.
That's what
not
I'm thinking
not
of.
solariums, but you know.
That idea that treats it differently, that you could articulate that mass, so it's not just one big mass, even though your points are, we're never going to see it.
Or if it's stepped back.
It's like something to soften that a little bit, but
so, I mean, it's funny that you guys say that, because we, at one point, we did have paneling on it, and we treated it that, we played around with that idea, and then we went back to, you know, simplicity and blending, and then decoration of adding shutters on it to give it some panelization. So what I'm hearing is that, you know, maybe there might be a nice way to put more to the fenestration, that there could be a granted exception to obviously not do the 12 and 12 on that, but
don't think I
just
would
like,
bark up that
just a
tree.
little bit.
I think what he's saying is like, put a water table in here.
Yeah.
And have all this white panel and recessed panel, or somehow make the architectural different.
so somehow you could almost, what we're seeing on the right-hand side, where the deck is, that kind of concept pulls around to that side. Yeah, and that pulls around, that articulation makes it seem like it ties into the rest of the house a little better, maybe?
We
Again,
have it in the flat file somewhere.
yeah.
From past renditions.
But what about a
So-
flare at the second, at that plate?
That could be interesting, too. If that's a detail that's in the house, which it is, right?
I lost that
The
one.
little flare, you continue that
yeah.
flare.
This, the
It's a
flare on the,
skirt,
I don't know, you, just something to break up that very vertical facade on both sides.
Right.
I know
Well, the
nobody's
skirt
gonna
is
see it,
always-
but the deer will see it.
So with the
love it.
skirt, you can wing it out and give it a nice molding package underneath the skirt.
Yes.
And that's, could also be enough articulation to give it
Yeah, because
difference.
what's bothering me is the height of the second floor windows in relationship to the top of the building, right? And I think that's why Stephen was even thinking like, oh, what if you gave that more, gave that more mass so that it didn't feel like that the code was chopping off the building,
Yeah.
which is kind of what it is
Yeah,
doing.
yeah.
So that's what I think you were going for, and I wondered, That's why I thought, okay, panelize it to make it feel all one.
If the exception to go up to 1,000 or whatever is the same exception that would be found, the findings are the same, or it's all lumped in the same action as a little bit of extra height, I think we can find a little bit of molding above there or something. But I think a sloped roof is just
Too much. You'd have to go like a dormer scenario where you were making sit it down, and then you get exactly. Yeah.
And then it's a head bunker and everything.
Yeah, you
But,
can't get
yeah.
it. You can't
But
get it
I
done.
like where you're going, Stephen, that if you had like 12 inches or 18 inches, you could create a deeper facade. You could create a deeper crown package to cap that off.
Yeah.
What if by creating some sort of dormer situation, you take away square footage, but then you add it to the footprint? You know what I'm saying? You've got plenty of setback there because it's an ADU.
Yeah.
And if you make the actual building bigger, but then make the second story a lot smaller and have it use dormers to give the roof line some articulation.
That's a really good idea. It would be a little trickier, but I think we could do it.
It'd be trickier, but it might be more charming.
Yeah, we do like the dormers.
Well, it's a charming house.
It is.
Like, it has already a lot of whimsy.
It really does.
And it just seems like this is sort of this two-story block. I mean, I know why you did it.
All.
I know why you did it.
I like it, bring it in.
That's why the whimsy, I was thinking like an enclosed porch that had been,
Yeah.
a second story deck that kind of had been there.
Yeah.
And then that's where I was,
Like
that's what
turn
was.
their sleeping porches into.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, but nicer.
Yeah.
All right, I don't have any more comments, but that.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, I think it's I mean, the garage is very beautiful, but you heard what we have to say about that. And I think the house, you can massage it, the ADU, get where you're going.
Thank you.
Any other?
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your time. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Do you guys think this might be coming out?
Right after they leave, the permit inspector leaves.
Yeah. It's going to be one of those Japanese rice paper walls.
Well, I think especially because what I love is it's going into a window.
I know. And legally, there has to be a fire separation between these things.
Okay, and the next item, information and discussion on zoning text amendments for pools and landscape structures.
Okay, so I don't have a lot yet because I'm still working with the town attorney on what this would look like, but up on the dais, you have a setback exception application example from the town of Woodside. And one idea is to do something similar for pools and landscape structures, patios, fireplaces, that sort of thing. The idea here is that it wouldn't be a variance anymore because, we went down that path of everyone saying, well, so-and-so got a variance, the house next door got a variance. This would make it an exception and not a variance. And I think the important part here is if we look at the last page, what I think would really be helpful for ADR, and Alex has the pools that were approved since 2021 and what the setbacks were approved as, is maybe to come up with ideas on what would be an acceptable exception for the setback of a pool. Last time, I think we talked about 10 feet when we looked at that. So R1 is Bolinas, the orange. So for instance, in that zone, 17, was it, Alex? So the 31 lots don't have 50 feet. They don't meet the minimum lot width. They're all so narrow that no one would be able to have a 10-foot side setback, because that just leaves you with 30 feet. And you'd have like, I guess you could still, that might be enough space for a pool, you know?
Yeah,
One
that's enough. I
dimension
mean,
of it.
yeah, that works, right?
But some of them I'm saying is not 50 feet. Some of them are, I don't know what they are. They range in,
35, 45.
right? So then in that case, you only have 20 feet. But again, so you have a smaller pool,
Can I
right?
ask a
It's not really,
Can I ask a question? Do we think as a group, and I did watch the video of you guys opining on this subject, do we think that every lot deserves to have a pool? Like that there are lots in town that aren't suitable for pools? Do we believe that, or do we think that's a not true statement? And what I'm trying to figure out here is if you ended up with a lot that was narrow, maybe that lot isn't appropriate for a pool. Like we can't, we could go to a 0 setback if we thought everybody's got to have a pool. So we should make it so that everybody could.
And you say that because I think that the historical reason for the large setbacks that are larger than most jurisdictions, like Atherton, these places have some pretty big lots, but they still allow these patios and decks as long as they're low to the ground, and pools, I think, can go all the way up to 10 feet. But it seems like Ross, when they developed the code, they said, look, all the places where people make noise should be more away from the neighbor property lines. And that's why you say that, not visually.
No, not visually.
Or topographically. Though there's a topographic problem. If something's too steep, it could look terrible and be a bummer.
Yeah. I was really just thinking, are we trying to craft an exception or exception that takes into account all the different types of properties that we have to make sure that everybody could build a pool within this? And that's just really just a philosophical question for you guys.
Well, okay, I'll answer my question. I don't think so, because if something's like super small and triangular and crazy, it's maybe just not well said to put a pool there. And 10 foot plus 10 foot wouldn't allow enough.
Right. That's why I was sort of.
It's always been kind of factored into property values. If you're trying to sell a house, the first call you get is like, is there a pool site? And a lot of times there's not a pool site, and that's just those properties trade at a lower value.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, for me personally, I would think there definitely are some. I don't know that it's that many in a place like Ross, but to me, there are some homes that just shouldn't have it, because in order to have it, it would have to be so close to the neighbors. Although a lot of times their neighbors also have small lots, because usually smaller lots are adjacent, right? Like Bolinas, for example.
In the pink zones, in the pink parts of the map, that's where the smaller lots are.
And then when that happens, often the neighbors are supportive of a pool that's close to their house, because they want a pool also, or have a pool also that's close to someone else's house. So, although I would think there's some that shouldn't have it, if you talk to 3 people who are all adjacent and all on smaller lots, probably 1 or 2 of them has a pool already and the other one wants one. And when the neighbors are more generous, they don't begrudge their neighbor from having the same thing they have. So when you follow that logic, then almost every house would be, including the ones on Bolinas. Like, I don't know if every house on Bolinas had a pool and they were all 10 feet away from the neighbors' houses. Like, well, if that's what the people on Bolinas want to do, like, fine.
I feel like 10 is kind of a good number.
Mark, you think 10 is too small?
I was thinking about 2 things there. 10 does feel small to me, but I can understand that maybe for the side yard. I was wondering, we have a current code that talks about the side yard setbacks are different than the rear setbacks and different from the front. And I was curious how that plays out as well. I don't even know what the logic there is, to be honest, why those are so, and they're wildly different, right? Side setbacks 15, 20 versus 40 or 50 in the rear, right, typically? So I was also wondering if we should be thinking about applying that same logic to this. Is it 10 on the sides and 20 in the rear? Or is that some logic that we would continue forward? But I'm not sure why that was put forth in the first place, to be honest.
I agree with you. It doesn't, if the whole point is because we don't want pools necessarily encroaching on the peace and quiet of somebody, then why is a side different than a rear? It
Yeah.
doesn't seem to make any sense whatsoever, because yes, you could have a house closer on the side, but you could have a house closer in the rear.
Yeah. I also,
Rear yards sometimes are larger when there's a sense of communal visual backyard, like houses in San Francisco have
Yeah,
a
yeah.
big backyard requirement, so they
Yeah.
all communally enjoy that open space visually.
That's right.
We don't have a lot of backyards that abut one another in any kind of regularized fashion. So,
on certain regularized lots like a Bellina's, right?
yeah, not very many. though.
Yeah, not that many.
Yeah.
I was
Yes,
also
between
just,
Bolinas and the one over, whatever that is, Fernhill, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah.
That does.
yeah.
Those share backyards. It's nice
Yeah,
that they're
yeah.
bigger backyards, probably, because then they're not so close to each other.
that's right.
But like having lived on Fernhill, and we had a pool, it was very close to the side yard, and far from the back. But if the person behind us had had their pool only 10 feet from the property line, that actually wouldn't have affected us at all. Where if the neighbor has one 10 feet from the property line, that does affect us because it's so close to our house and our pool.
Yeah.
So,
funny,
so there it should almost been the opposite.
Yeah,
Leniency should be on the back.
Maybe it should be on the back, yeah. I was also just thinking, Joey, you said something, this might have been months and months and months ago.
Yeah.
But we were looking at a lot, and it was in relationship to some of the layout of things. And we had started to see a trend where everyone was pushing everything to the perimeter. And I think what we're kind of going down this road towards is that's how people are going to design. They're going to push everything to the perimeter, the pools,
Absolutely.
the patios, to whatever number we choose, 10, 6, 15. It's going to all go to that number. And then they're going to be the ones that say, I want it 6, if we say 10, and they're going to be the ones that say 5. But it will, I think, encourage people to have this sort of design formula to say, oh, now we can go to 5, or now we can go to 10. So let's put the pool further away, which makes it closer to the neighbors and closer to the side yards and rear yards.
I think
It might be okay.
right now, it's like every pool needs a variance because of the setback rules. So if we are able to come up with something, and I think we talked about this last time, but like maybe hold it to a stricter, like it's really more challenging to get a variance for less than whatever the new universal standard pool patio setback space is.
Yeah, hopefully don't ask,
Right.
Maybe it's 10,
unless the property's so weird.
10 side,
Right.
10 back, and no variances.
I mean, that's what we would want, I mean, that's what I would want Alex and I be able to do, is to say, don't even ask for the variance, meet the exception. Otherwise, if you want to move forward, we're going to recommend denial, right? Like, why do you need a variance? No one needs a variance for a pool.
Well, I think that
Right.
we could also use some examples. I think you guys talked about 200, where the pool's actually in the front yard because it's a weird shaped lot.
Yeah.
Like that's one of these that should go for a variance, and we would probably look at that and go, of course, there's no rear yard, and your front yard is oddly giant. So there's one on Shady Lane as well, where the pool's in the front yard. It's odd. I can't remember what number it is.
It's also what I have at my
Yeah, you have your
personal
home. That's right.
But it's, 25 feet from the front, 15 from the side, like.
Well, it's a good test. What would you have done if we made it 10 and 10 and 10? And
No,
you know,
I
what
have
would you
to
have done?
say, with 15 feet is allowed.
Mm-hmm.
15 feet, you plant a hedge in 5 feet of that. That's really good to keep, so you can't see your neighbor. You only have 10 feet for chaise lounges, for pool furniture.
Right.
So like, I actually wouldn't have made it any closer. I
So
would have actually liked to push it closer to the road because it's a road.
Right.
And I didn't need all that room up there and had a little more room between the pool and the house.
So if we said 10 in your theory of buffers from a neighboring perspective, is that not enough space to leave for?
15's a better number
I'm just
than-
curious.
It is 15 now.
It is 15 on many lots.
I mean,
on my-
if we're redoing something,
Yeah.
maybe then that argues that the new magic number should be 15 because it gives people, 2 to 5 feet for planting and then 10 to 12 feet for like pool furniture.
But like
Whereas
a lot of
if they
people will-
only have 10 feet, they're probably not going to plant anything, because if you plant for 5 feet, then you've got enough for, an armchair, and people will want to have those nice looking lounges near their pool.
can you require this whole program, can you require a certain depth of a planting bed? And like more than just a fence? You know, a fence between a pool and another pool is just not enough. And it's not attractive. But could we compel people, like, no, if you're gonna do this, you gotta plant a hedge?
I guess we have ability to look at landscape plans, so that would be, if someone went to that 10 feet, as an example, we would say, okay, what's your planting strategy along that property line for screening? I'm not sure if we could prescribe it.
If they're doing it as an exception instead of a variance, do we still review it or no? Like,
Yes.
we would still have the opportunity to look at the landscaping?
Okay, so that could be something.
The whole thing though is to make
Make it
these
formulaic.
stop.
Less subjective.
Yeah, and make it so we are not looking at so many
Which then
pools
makes me wonder if it's better, just from what you said, thinking out loud, maybe it should be 15 feet with the first 5 feet mandatory planting, or maybe it's 12 feet with the first 3 feet mandatory planting, or something like that, because then it is formulaic, and we're not doing it every time, and when they talk to Roberta or Alex, they're like, yeah, you can do it within 13 feet, there's 3 feet of planting that's prescribed by the town, and then you can do whatever you want with the other 10 feet.
Roberta, why did you say we would see those? If it was an exception and they filled out this beautiful form, would we actually, if they were just doing that pool and they were 10 feet away, why would we see them?
And before you answer that, why not codify it within the code required setbacks? Say main structures or anything above certain height above the ground still has the bigger setbacks, and then the stuff that's lower or some shit has a different set of setbacks.
So
Is this
we could
'cause this
do it
is
that way.
easier than changing the code?
We could do it, so there was 2 ways that I talked to Ben with, which is we could codify it into the zoning districts for pools or landscape structures and have a different setback for those items there, or we can do it as an exception. So the only difference really is they would still need design review. So if you do 50 cubic yards of grading, which is any pool, you still need design review.
I think we should get rid of that, though. I think 50 cubic yards is a good trigger so that you don't have hillsides that get kind of adulterated. But but a pool should be accepted from the excavation or, cubic yardage that triggers a design review, I think, unless we want to see every pool.
So that's already, yes. So you can always recommend removing that if there's, a reason that you don't want to look at every pool.
Well, if we have a new number, whether it's 10, 12, or 15, and if we had some mandatory planting, then we could take away
Making an exception, so if you're digging a
Make
pool,
it
that
so,
isn't
yeah,
part
that
of
doesn't
your
count as
trigger as design for
a
design
design
review.
review. Like, I don't know that there is a reason for us to see it. If we've decided 15 feet with 3 feet of planting is fine, then if someone comes along with that, I don't know why we do need to see it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it currently is 15 feet on the sides.
It is.
So we're not.
And Alex's chart shows us that sometimes people are asking for variances for 6 feet.
In some places, it's 15, some it's 22 and a half, some it's 30.
No, this is Woodside.
Oh, no, this is Woodside. This is not Ross. This is just an example. So in Ross, it is 15, and then the rear is what, 40, sometimes 70? If it's hillside, it's 70. If it's.
But wait a second,
Just change the rear.
we do have that situation that I was made aware of with my own personal, the 200 Lagunitas project. When you're 1 foot over an acre, it changes. And you don't get to enjoy the 15-foot setback that everybody down on Shady Lane gets. You have a bigger setback once you're over an acre.
I mean, or if you're less than half an acre and you're zoned in a 5-acre zoning district, you also have,
Yeah, so I
there's
think
a lot of things that don't.
Yeah, so I think it should just be, I would suggest whatever number we choose, it should be the same for side and rear and for everything, would be better. And I think whatever that number is should include at least a few feet of mandatory screening for a new pool. And a lot of people will already have that, so it doesn't matter. They're just leaving what they already have because they have a nice hedge and they're putting a pool in, or they have trees or something, but just make sure there's like, a minimum X feet of planting that goes up to some height.
Can you prescribe the planting?
3 feet of planting.
What was that?
You prescribe planting in the?
Yes,
Oh,
yes, you
Chairs
can.
on that side of the pool. A lot of these people
Right.
push their pool right up to the planting, and then they have the chairs on the other side.
Yeah.
That's right.
Doesn't the 10 feet, like, so let's say we pick 10 feet as the dimension for this new setback. That would go to like, if there was decking around the pool, that would go to that, and then the pool would be.
No, it's a coping. I think it's the edge of the water, right?
Well, if.
Any aggregate or any space where you hang out also needs to comply with the setback. So-
Right, so that would be a
Patio around
patio.
the pool
So
would
the-
comply to that.
Right, so it might be 10 feet to where the patio starts and then further to the pool if you want to put lounge chairs there.
But I don't think we would want to be into the business of prescribing that. I think we should say all of the patio and the pool has to stay out of X zone.
Yes,
right?
no, I agree. It's just when Joey was talking about 15 feet and then the space for the lounge chairs next to it, that's all.
No, that's an excellent, because I was imagining the property line, 3 feet of planting and then a pool deck. But what I actually should have been imagining was the property line, 10 feet, and then either the pool or pool
Right.
deck starting. Okay, thank you for pointing
Yeah, I
that
think
out.
that's right.
Like,
Yeah.
in my personal thing, it's turf. It's not,
Yeah.
it's not,
Like
hard
paved, yeah.
Right.
because of that very reason.
Because you couldn't put
Yeah.
the patio, yeah.
Would there be support for Steven's idea? So hypothetically, if it was just a pool and it needed more than 50 cubic yards of grading, but it met these objective standards, let's call them, right? The planting, whether it's 10 or 15, would ADR be supportive of that being some type of ministerial, administrative? That way, like, do you want to look at all the pools? Maybe you do. I mean, that's okay.
I don't think we want to see pools that, if it's just the pool, right? No, I think.
sometimes you're
I would
seeing
be
just a
supportive
pool.
of that exception, the cubic yard
Just
exception.
figure out what.
Yeah, I would be.
Kind of the biggest residential pool people are building. I mean, if they're proposing an Olympic-sized pool, we got to.
Of course.
Yeah, like,
Yes, yes.
your 40 by 20 pool, give or take,
800 square feet or
But,
less.
but hold,
little wiggle room.
I don't think we can prescribe how big the
No,
pool
no,
could
but
be,
if
right?
they're really.
Well, you
moving
could say,
so
you
much
could say
land-
if it's more than whatever, 1,000 square feet of a pool, then it needs design review. You could, I mean, you could do it however, if you want,
I don't know, like,
a size.
is it okay if someone builds like a 200 by 100 foot pool?
If it fits within the guidelines.
Could,
Setback, yeah.
could you
fine, do it, it's your
change
yard.
the number of cubic feet that triggers it?
Oh,
You
that
know,
would be a
like,
way
could
to
you
do it.
just
You could,
no.
you could.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
So you could have a really
sure.
deep.
But why not surface area? Why not surface area? Because it's an easier thing.
Yeah, 'cause then you're not
Because it could be a
like-
3.5 foot pool or a 6 foot pool.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think you could,
Although, does
I'm
it
not
really-
worried about large pools. I
Actually,
mean, I'm just not that worried
I'm not
about
worried
it.
about a large pool either. If someone wants to do that in their backyard, good for them.
Yeah, I'm not worried about
You know
that.
what, I
if it's
think the
not in the
only
setback-
reason is like a ton of dirt moving around the town, like, do we care or is that
Well,
not my
let's,
problem?
let's test that a little bit. So if someone with a large lot came in and they wanted a large pool, it fit within the current setbacks, and they would have to come to us for design review because it's X number of cubic feet, what would we say? Would we say that pool's too big, or we say it fits in all the setbacks, have a bigger pool you want? I think we would.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we wouldn't have any bounds to be like, well, that pool's too big, or that's an ugly shaped pool. Like,
So yeah, I think
no,
making it a ministerial thing would
Yeah, I
be
like that.
great for
Yeah.
things that aren't in the setbacks.
yeah.
So the only areas that, if Alex puts that table back, couldn't meet whatever it is, 10 or 15, are those narrower lots on Bolinas, Poplar, because they're not 50 feet, right? So I'm just bringing that up to say that you might still see from every now and then those folks ask for.
Yeah,
You know what? 3 years from now, Brad's gonna put a pool in every single one of them, and that whole thing will be
that's
done.
right. But I think that's appropriate. That's why I asked that first question. Are we trying to design something so it fits every lot in the town? And I don't think it's the case. We should have exceptions on hillsides where we have to look at it because it's I remember one over here, it was
Well,
like on this
but that's a
incredibly
different issue
steep thing.
because it's retaining walls.
That's right.
Or
Yeah.
or a tiny lot if it's
But that's
not
only different, not
50.
because
They have to orient the pool.
of the setback thing, that's a separate issue, just because they're gonna have to
Bulk and
build
mass
a
and-
10-foot retaining wall.
So just, if we went with 10 feet and it doesn't work for every lot, we get that, and we make it ministerial for the excavation, what about hillside lots? Just let's think through that. What if someone comes in?
Someone might need
If you need a wall over 4 feet, I think you have to
You have
come
to
to
come in and
design
chat.
review anyway.
Okay.
Right.
That would be the,
So
that
they
would
could
be the
manage
trick.
it
They need a
without
retaining
4-foot walls,
wall.
I think that would be okay, maybe?
Yeah, I think you're right, because then it wouldn't be on the steepest portion
you're
of the lot.
gonna
Okay,
wanna
I was just kind of checking.
But you're gonna wanna have the ministerial process of whether it's 10 feet with automatic approval or whatever, written in such a way that someone with a hillside lot cannot come in here and say, well, that's an unfair hardship, because everybody else is able to have a pool 10 feet from the lot, and in order for me to have that, I need to have a 30-foot high retaining wall. So therefore, you guys have to approve it because it's a hardship because everybody else is getting it. So you just need to make sure it's.
But within the,
That's the same way it is today.
It has to go to design review, and
Yeah.
it says in there that we just shouldn't accept projects that kind of severely damage the natural topography
Bulk
in
and
ways that are
mass.
heinous.
Yeah,
Make sure we had an easy out for, the most outrageous.
yeah, I think that it's, just thinking through it, the setbacks don't impact that particular problem, which I just want to make sure that was the case. Because we still want to see those, and we want to talk about
Yeah.
whether it's
Yeah, you don't want a
appropriate or not.
20-foot high retaining wall next to some road.
Yeah.
Yeah, if any part of the pool, I mean, we were thinking in-ground pools, but sure, if any part needed a retaining wall that was higher than the 4 feet, that automatically requires design review, so they'd have to come anyway.
I did like to continue on, I like the idea of the trellises, like the 4-foot height, I think is what, 5-foot height of whatever is in this space, right? So
Calling you yet, I'm sorry.
we weren't allowing trellises out in this same zone, right? But between the building setback and this new setback. I
Anything
think you
above
would,
4 or 5
that was the,
feet,
you would come up with some 4 or 5 feet that was like, anything up to that we allow.
So like, could be a barbecue counter.
Exactly.
It could be, I'm even wondering, how about hardscape
Yes,
right
yes.
up to the property line?
Exactly, this should come along with whether we want to, is it just swimming pools we're talking about? What about the?
No, it's the patios as
All
well.
patios.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Patios and decks and swimming pools that are less
Right.
than X feet above the ground, 3 feet or something.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking like a flat hardscape patio, why can't it go up to 3 feet? Why can't the hardscape go right up to the planting bed?
I mean, that's the most
Doesn't hurt
jurisdictions
anyone.
say 10 feet for that stuff, just because they choose that as a way to keep people's stuff away from each other
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think I still respect that idea.
Yeah, because otherwise we have neighbors who have that, and it doesn't affect us because where that hardscape does go right up to the planting, and it's in between the pool, it's the exact
Yeah.
scenario you pointed out. We're not over in that part of our yard, but if we were,
It would
or
be
if our house is right there, that's their main congregating loudest area.
Yeah.
Pushed all the way to the edge, like you
Yeah.
said. So
Yeah.
I think that is
it
not
at
good to
10.
have.
Keep it at-
I think all that stuff should be kept at 10.
And I think we see that as,
Harder setbacks is the building.
Is the
And it's
building.
anything higher than maybe
X
4
feet.
right? Because maybe you can do barbecues or counters or things.
I think that's the right,
Benches or
yeah.
fire pits.
I liked 4
But
feet.
nothing overhead, because you don't want to trellis right next to the
That's
property
right.
line for
Yeah.
people to see.
So I think 4 feet's a good number, and everything stays outside that 10. And if people come and want a patio in that 10, then we talk about it.
But it seems, if you're gonna allow all these patios and stuff like, which sounds great, I think that's the right thing to do. Seems hard to somehow write in that they have to do the 3 foot of planting.
Yeah, maybe that's not,
Or no,
it's
no,
only
maybe-
because I
maybe
was
it's okay.
picturing
Maybe
the
if you
deck
have-
going up to the property line, which I didn't want, but there's gonna be planting or something there, anyway.
Maybe it's okay, maybe you say, if you're gonna build in that zone, which is between the natural setback or the building setback and this more lenient setback, that the condition of that is has to come with 3 feet of solid planting or some kind of screening or something.
And most people have a 6-foot tall wooden fence, anyway.
But what we really want to avoid is someone maximizing their space on their side of the fence with 0 green buffer. Because the green buffer also is a noise attenuation. If it's
Well, they
just
can't do anything in this 10 feet anyway, so it's gonna be wood chips or dirt or
Right.
green or something that's not built.
True.
You can't build anything in the.
Right, so the question is, do you want to mandate some sort of planting
I
there?
don't think so, because I don't think we want to get in the business of designing the landscape or mandate they have a solid wall of green.
I think they're going to want it anyway. The majority of people are going to
Yeah,
want some sort of privacy
It's probably
screen.
just a non.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of being the neighbor. I'm just thinking of being the neighbor
Yeah.
who this is happening to. They're building, a pool 10 feet, and they want to keep that space, wood chips to put, or turf, to
Yeah.
put their lawn chairs on. And then you have lawn chairs right up against a grapesake fence. And no, it compels, or it makes those neighbors have to plant their own huge hedge, which in reality, it should be 2 lines of hedges and a fence in between. I mean, if you really want to like buffer noise, that's the right way to do it. I worry about people scrimping or trying to put their seating right up against the fence.
Which they can't do on deck or hardscape within that, but they could cheat like you do.
Well, I didn't cheat. It was, I have 5 feet of planting and 10 feet.
She's got the 5 feet.
It's turf. But like, they would put turf. And if you had a tiny yard, you'd maybe want your chairs and stuff over there, and you could.
Certainly would, yeah.
You could do it with
push your
turf.
stuff farther away. Yeah, yeah, and you can do that, that's okay.
So no planting requirement?
I'm kind of on the fence about that one. I'm not sure. No pun intended.
Yeah, because so our neighbors, because they just assumed we would put a hedge, which we did, but they put 0. So there's like nothing on their side that goes
That's what I'm talking about.
there. And like I said, it doesn't matter for us because of where the pool is, but like if it was closer to our house, like.
When people start doing this wholesale on Bolinas, it's gonna be like, it's gonna be a pool and seating and a little wooden fence in between them.
But then let's say today, for instance, they were building a pool and they had a 15-foot setback. And they build the pool and there's 15 feet, are we requiring any landscape for that? We're not, so then we're adding a new thing and getting in the business of it. I'm just trying to think out loud, like, because in general, we want to do the least we can do. So if we start regulating that, I mean, I think everyone should have planted.
I mean, I think it just takes, oh, sorry.
But I don't know if it should be part of the pool
Requirement.
Because what if they put a deck instead?
Oh, I haven't.
It's just, if we are reviewing less pool projects, we have less opportunity to be like, you should add some screening. But I do agree, it would be kind of hard to try to write this into the.
Also, the fire department isn't even allowing
They don't
grape
like
safe
it.
fences anymore. They're huge fire spreaders. So my whole yard would have to be ripped out. And they're basically black metal mesh is what you can have now. And so I do think, unless you have a black metal solid fence, which nobody's gonna want, we could be setting up for some bad looks.
But I think whether it's 10 or 15 feet, it's the same problem, right? I think that's probably the same problem. Will
10,
exist.
15, 20, or 50, yeah. It's still-
People are, I imagine if you're mandated to have a metal wire fence, you're going to say, I want some privacy, I'm putting up some, especially if you put a pool.
Alex's spreadsheet, going back to that, shows that some people are asking for things that are less than 10 feet.
Oh, yeah.
In San Francisco, the side yard setback for single-family homes is very few. It's like in Seacliff and certain areas where there are freestanding homes. They have a separate designation called RH1D for detached. The side yard is a function of the lot width. So if you have a 50-foot wide lot, it's 2 side yards of 5 feet. If you have a 40-foot, it's 2 of 3. If it's 30 to whatever, So, I mean, it could be, it's a little more complex, but we could look at the lots that are in these smaller zones and say, if you have a lot that's between this and this, you do this.
I just figure Bolinas is already pooled up to some degree, so maybe that we don't need to, I like that idea, although you get back to Joey's point, you have a larger lot, why should your side yard be bigger?
You have cliffs.
Or irregularly shaped
Regularly
lots,
shaped lot.
that makes
But-
that.
Everybody gets the same candy.
Yeah, I kind of think that this across the board, and then when someone comes with 6 feet, that's our opportunity to have the conversation.
And also
If you start
maybe,
approving them at 6 feet, then you're going to have all
No.
the.
We
Right,
can
right,
approve
right.
them at 6 feet, but
Then-
I
then we
mean,
hold the
someone,
line.
someone could have a compelling reason. I don't know what it might
this is
be,
like a
but
blanket amnesty. And then I think by doing this, you guys have a much more, a leg to stand on to say, no, they brought it down to 10 and that's it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's more just like, at that point, the argument is, no, that you're right, there was a pool approved at 4 feet. However, the system and the codes have been changed.
Yeah.
And now everyone gets 10 in the front, 10 on the side, 10 in the rear, and anything less than 10, we're just gonna recommend it not be approved.
Yeah, we had changes to the hillside lot square footage, and that was a big difference from what it was prior, and people kind of had to live with it.
I mean, I think what this will allow us to do is have sort of a clean slate. Like, okay, this whole thing has gotten out of control. We're lessening or we're easing the requirements, but we don't want to see all these variances. Is that, I mean,
That's right.
Yeah, we can have badges.
my dreams.
I haven't approved a non-conforming pool for 30 meetings. You get chips.
So let's weigh it down, 10 feet?
I think that sounds
10 feet, sounds about right?
Sure.
And then
10 feet and it's the law of
Height.
God.
height at 4?
Height at 4.
Height at 4?
10.
10?
Height of 4 means that someone could build up the land, with a terrace, a raised terrace to up to 3'11". Do we want that? Or build a deck above the ground to up to 4 feet?
No, I don't think we want,
Do you
no,
want
we don't
that?
want decks
Like
that are high.
retaining
No, I guess I was only thinking of like a structure like a barbecue, not a deck.
Or a
Because
bench.
I think
Yeah.
a raised deck would be, especially if someone has a 6-foot tall fence, you got a 4-foot tall raised deck, you're looking right down.
Good question, though. Because you could see people putting a hot tub
Yeah, so not a,
and raise, right, then they raise the deck around the hot tub and everything's under 4 feet. But you're really now standing at, 7 or 8.
so then maybe you have to put it either much lower and just, so maybe it needs to be just like a foot then.
Are we fine with spas?
18 inches maybe, or a foot, yeah.
That means,
Something, because you got to be able to change the grade a little bit to do certain things, just to make some flat space
Yeah.
sometimes.
Aren't you already allowed
What about a barbecue?
I think that's fine, but just how do you got to accept it, you got to say so, but
Without-
I don't think.
yeah, how do you,
I do think a barbecue's fine, however,
A
it needs to
spa,
be written away where it can be a barbecue, but not a deck.
Features no more than 80 square feet.
or how about 2 feet deep? How can you, or do you just say barbecues?
Yeah, I was going to say, can you just say barbecue?
'Cause, yeah, other than a barbecue and a counter for it,
A built-in bench,
Yeah.
but built into what?
I don't know, I mean, just built up.
Built
out
on
of
the
ground.
edge of
Not into
a
it,
deck
built
at
up.
grade, or deck 15 inches off the grade, has a little bench around the edge.
Maybe
of
nothing
it.
over 18 inches, except for,
Barbecues.
seems weird to call it a barbecue, but okay.
yeah, it's.
We've seen that where they've also built up the retaining walls and they almost have like a chimney.
Yeah, the chimneys are what 4 foot would cut off.
Or our fireplaces.
Fireplace with the chimney, we've seen that a bunch of times too.
Those get pretty high.
They get pretty
And
high.
they are high, yeah.
I think those are exceptions when they want to come in and say, I want to put a chimney that's, 6, 8 feet high.
Yeah, I think that should be an ADR thing because
Yes.
it might
ADR
be
thing.
visible from the
Yeah,
neighbors.
and we can just, that is less controversial to some degree than maybe all this pool
And it's
stuff.
also smoke and exhaust and,
Right, you don't want it so close to the neighbors.
a whole other thing.
So how do we clarify outdoor kitchens? Is that what we call it? Because that would incorporate like kind of a barbecue
Yeah,
and
you could,
countertops?
maybe like outdoor
Is that-
kitchen items can be up to 4 feet tall.
10 feet,
Yeah, everything stops at the 10 feet.
yeah.
I think you'd want to say benches too, or just give them a little bit of flexibility to design cool things.
Yeah. I don't want to
You just don't want the
prescribe
walking
it.
surfaces raised up.
Yeah.
Yes, how do you say that?
Yeah.
System-
Can we leave that with you guys to try to noodle
Staff to
on?
try to craft a.
Yeah, I think that you've got what we're trying to intend here.
AI that.
We don't want
It'll
them,
steal from some town like
yeah, you know what
Woodside.
we're trying to say.
We got
here.
you.
Okay,
We'll
good.
AI it
You
and we'll
AI
come up with
that
a
up.
definition
Lay
of
that
what
up.
a outdoor
Okay.
We don't need to
kitchen.
reinvent the wheel here. Someone else has
Yeah.
done this.
Yeah,
But we'll come back with something that would make it a administrative ministerial process with the 10 feet. And then define some of the, patios or outdoor kitchen or
think
like
Patios
furniture.
and decks and swimming pools and other congregation spaces, as well as paths and stairs wider than 4 feet, because that's how it's currently limited,
Yeah.
are now allowed in this zone,
Yep.
up to a height of no more than 18 inches above the existing grade,
With the exception of,
with the exception of
yeah.
some carnival stuff that we're going to describe.
We might want to, you keep mentioning this, is like, we have the building setbacks and we have we might want to name these other setbacks so we can all, easily refer to
It's called
them.
accessory structure setback, but that's not really what we're talking about.
Right.
It's,
Patio
we had
landscape
it as
setbacks?
landscape structures.
Landscape features,
Yeah, or landscape features.
usable landscape features.
So a shed would still come to us. Yeah, that would work. Yeah, that would work. Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Well, thank you. We good?
great, thank
Okay.
you.
I motion that
Thank
we
you all.
adjourn.
I second that.
Second, third,
I feel that was productive.
Barry.